Yeah. Uh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of River City 93. I'm your host, as always, Elliot Barr, and a guy that I just realized that is in that video promotion that you saw, that Venom clip that we put together, is Mr. Matt Myers. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good. River City 93-0. What?
Look at you.
Look at that. Look at that. I got the puns.
Right.
More where that came from.
And as many goals the kicker scored last night against those damn Owls, we have three hosts tonight. He has stable internet. Is Mr. Chenier. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Happy.
Right. It feels very happy. Look, I say this every week. We have a lot to talk about, but before we talk about any of that, I think we'd be remiss if we did not wish our best to Alex Tucci, the Union Omaha player that unfortunately got hurt right at the end of the first half. We wish him all the best. It was a gnarly, nasty injury. I think all of us can agree. Please do not share the video or any photos of the injury online. It's not worth it because it's literally not worth it. But we wish him all the best and speedy recovery. Yeah. But we'll move from that. Talk about the game that happened. Guys, Richmond, in a game in which was pivotal, a game that in which we lost, it might have been very hard to get that top 2 seed. Richmond showed up and showed out. 3-0 win over Union Omaha, right?
That's what I saw.
3-0. Also, we had Johnny Bolaños probably. I can't even say this is best game of the season because we've seen these performances for him before. 2 assists and a goal. Emiliano Trezaghi is now, you feel like he's slowly starting to pull away from the pack in that golden boot race, and we'll talk about that. But I think the biggest thing, and Matt, me and you was talking about it before this show started, this feels like Richmond's best performance of the year thus far. I know we had the 4-0 game over Chattanooga, Charlotte, NCFC, but this performance, this is something Derek can hang his hat on and be like, hey, guys, if you play like this, we'll be hosting a trophy very soon.
Yeah. This was a uncharacteristically, and when I say uncharacteristically, I mean for Union Omaha, this was a dominant performance.
Yeah.
I mean, the kickers dominated Union Omaha in this game. I don't think there was any point in the game where I really feared that Union Omaha was going to do us any damage. There were moments here and there where, it's like, oh, they had a chance here, a chance there. But in terms of controlling the game, I feel like the kickers were mostly in control of this game, and it was very impressive.
Yeah, I would say 90% of the game, the kickers were very well in control. I think there was probably about a 5 to 10 minute span really early in the first half where Omaha was putting it to the defense, and here came up big at one point with a really nice kick save to keep it at zeros at that point. But yeah, overall, really complete performance across the board from the guys. I mean, Emmy and Bolaños filling the stat sheet as they've been doing most of the year. But the midfield was really strong. The defenders were really strong. Today Akira was really strong, and kind of taking a little bit of a look ahead to when we talk about it later on. But I mean, it was tough to narrow it down to top 3 stars of the game, because you can make a really good argument for 12, 13 guys that played to be get recognized.
Yeah, you really could. You can make a legitimate case for like 12 to 13 guys out there that you're like, hey, they did their job. Let's talk about the lineup that Derek has selected. Like we said, Akira, we know he's in the back. You had a back four of Stephen Payne, Jalen Chrysler, Dakota Barnathan, and Stu Ritchie. midfield, Zaka, Ethan, Neil, and then the front three of Vandercourt, Decker, Chizagi, Jonathan Bolaños. Me personally, I could not have been more happy with this lineup. I mean, we talked about it last week. You had the fluid midfield, a very when I say fluid, I mean very balanced midfield of Zaka, Ethan, and Neil. Then you had a very threatening, very fluid attack of Vandercourt Decker, who should have had a goal. Should have had a goal. Terzaghi and Jonathan Bolaños, and a very stern back line. I think we all agree. Darren got it right, guys, didn't he?
Absolutely. And I'm gonna stand corrected on EVD being the preferred right wing, because even though he doesn't have Bolaños' pace on the opposite side, he definitely brings a physical strength to that front line that is terrifying. And I was loving it. I was loving it.
Yeah, there was a couple of moments where he got in
Absolutely.
there with like the right back or something. He'll I don't know if you guys caught it, but he'll do this thing where he'll get the ball in his feet and he'll kind of like shove them and open up like a whole lane of space. And it's
Yup.
just, like, he'll just do it over and over again.
He was bullying that fullback the whole time he was on the field.
Yeah, he's not an especially like huge guy, but he knows how to use his body really, really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he did. He did. The midfield guys, I think that's the part where Richmond has won this game. If you go back and look at Union Omaha games in the past, these are two teams that neither one of them like possession. It's almost like Richmond and Greenville. It's almost like whoever has the ball more is going to typically lose this game. But in this game particularly, it felt like whoever wins the midfield is going to win this game. Richmond won the midfield battle. Zaka had a really controlled game. Ethan Bryant again. Neil Vigneault. I think I say this more and more over the week. Neil's probably one of the best players in this league with the ball at his feet, and there's two defenders on either side of him.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a really good, quick first touch to be able to. I don't even know how he does it. I mean, I guess if I knew how to do that, I guess I'm too old now, but I would have been out there and not in the stands all these years, along with fitness and tons of other reasons why not. But yeah, he's really silky smooth, in those tight spaces. I mean, we talked in past years about he's not a burner. He doesn't need to be. He's able to create himself a quick yard, find a release if necessary.
Yeah, very much so. Like he's very. I don't know how to describe it, but he has this motion in him where he lifts his head up and is like where he's also trying to figure out how to pass the ball. He's also like moving away from danger at the same rate. I don't know. It's amazing to see him do that.
Yeah, but then you get on the flip side you got Ethan Bryant, who's just like endless ball of energy out there in the middle. The amount of time he's able to, you see him driving back into the back line to be able to collect the ball, really helping to move the ball, side to side, whether that's through passing or just dribbling it himself. Like, just pick your favorite cliche, Energizer Bunny, whatever you want to call him, in there, because he's doing it. And he's not just a hustle guy; he's doing it with good control on the ball too.
Yeah, he is, and he's doing it with so much great control. You can finally feel like. We were talking about it in the press box of like he's starting. He hasn't even hit his peak yet. Like he's only 21, and you can see how good he's going to be when he hits 23, 24, 25. Like you can see how good he's going to be. But let's talk about this game. First 10 minutes of this game, things did feel shaky. Shanair, I know you got to the stadium late, but it felt a little bit shaky at first. Union Omaha had some good chances. Akira, as always, he had a wonderful foot save. I think Meza had the shot.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of felt like at that moment, we were like, all right. Back to you, did it feel like, Rich was going to be in for a tough one tonight?
I mean, I thought it was going to be a tough one anyway because Omaha, they're a good team. There's a reason they only had 2 losses in the league coming into the game. So I never realistically believed we were going to beat them 3-0 the way that we did. I always figured it would be a tight one, and you might need a big save or two, and you might need a little bit of luck. later on. So it didn't stun me, especially given how there have been some slower starts lately, in home games, too. So it didn't stun me, but after that, I don't really think Akira had a whole lot to do. I mean, there's one way late in the game. We can talk about that later on. But after that, things really tightened up, and not too long after, the tides officially turned.
Yeah, it really felt as if after that moment, is like what could go right for Richmond did go right for Richmond, in lack of a better term. 20th minute, Jonathan Bolaños gets the ball wide, cuts inside. And we've seen this move with him before where he'll kind of get it onto his right foot and kind of cut in between 2 or 3 players. And you think he's going to take that shot from deep. Takes a chance. I think it deflects off of New Hoop, kind of pushes back centrally. Is it Ethan Bryant that takes the shot?
Bolaños laid it off for Bryant, yeah.
Yeah. Laid it
Like,
off.
He didn't even take the shot initially. And, in real time, I was like, why are you passing that? Take that, yourself.
Right. I mean, he did take it after New Who punched it back to him and he chipped it over him. So it's one other Richmond at that point. Oh, what were you about to say? My bad.
Yeah, I was saying I think Bolaños was in the mindset of I'm coming at the goal at an angle. Ethan Bryant is dead center, and in terms of percentage shot, I think I would say that Ethan Bryant's position was, even though he was a little further away from goal, because of the angle, he was in a better the percentage of scoring from his position was higher than the percentage of scoring from Bolaños' position. And as a winger, I can see Bolaños doing that. If it was Terzaghi, of course Terzagi's going for it like all day long, every day, and twice on Sunday. So but it's really good that Bolaños, even after making that pass, he still continues his run, and that's what makes it that he's right there when Nuhu makes that save, that he just sticks his foot out and chips it right over his body, basically, because there's no way Nuhu's reacting after making a save to that.
Yeah. I'd like to give a shout out as well to Mr. Gordon, not our man Owain, but number 12, the right back for Omaha, that Gordon, whatever his first name is, that dude sucked. And it was awesome watching Bolaños just destroy him all game long. He was faster than him, he was bigger than him. He was just he was making a clown out of that guy. I think you might be willing to say that your boy Calvo step up from that dude.
Probably.
Oh, absolutely. No, because look,
you're a rational opinion here.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Huh?
Yeah, you view him rationally. I'm going straight to LA with his irrational dislike of the man, and he's even probably willing to say superior to that guy.
I mean, yes, love that. I think this is a good moment for us to step back and just look at Jonathan Bolaños overall. He's really taken a step in his third year. What is he on? 9 assists right now, 4 goals.
Yep. Yeah, league leader.
God, you're more of the realistic one on the show. I'm really looking at the future, but 7 games left. Do you think Jonathan Bolaños got a realistic shot at the MVP?
I think there's a chance. He probably still needs some more numbers because goals mean a lot. I think the team probably needs to do well down the stretch as well. But he's 1 assist off of the League One single season assist record. I wouldn't look that up today. So it's 10 like Arturo Rodriguez and somebody from last year. I don't even remember who at this point. So Ramos from Chattanooga last year was at 10. So I mean, you got to think if he stays healthy, he'll be able to break that. I think the question is, will he stay healthy? Right. That's been the only thing that's really been stopping him this year is his own body.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. And then, because if you think about potential other MVP candidates, I mean, Emmy's going to be up there because goals.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So, that's a realistic threat. You got to think, Greenville, I'm not sure who it would be. Omaha, I'm not. Mesa, maybe. Nuhu, maybe. But
yeah, I mean, you can make a kind of case for Cassini and Ford. If you look at Greenville, maybe Lacovette's. Yeah,
Yeah.
it,
Like
it gets
there's not a lot of like super obvious candidates this year. I don't think.
yeah, that's
Like
true. There's not
Para,
really super obvious.
I think Para would be a good candidate, but
You got to
no,
make the playoffs.
yeah, if Noka doesn't even make the playoffs, it makes a really hard case.
Yeah,
Like if they sneak into the playoffs, I mean, you might be able to convince me to consider him, but I think Bolaños, if he keeps adding some more stats in, there's a very real chance, as long as people don't look at raw stats and they consider the fact that he missed some time too.
yeah, yeah. That's very true. Maybe that's something we can, we can write an article on Jonathan Bolaños. What's the case for him being MVP? Like I said, that's the end of the first half. Nothing else happened at the end of the half that we need to talk about. We go ahead, look at the second half. Second half, to me, I won't say it felt like Richmond was just a cruise control, based on like how the game was going. It just felt like Union Omaha was just giving us the game. Like it didn't feel like Union Omaha was really. They just played poor. You would think with a team that's coming on with an 11-game unbeaten streak, you would generally sense like they would have a better control of the game, only down being now 1 goal. It just felt like they let the game get away from them.
Okay. So for me, what I was seeing for most of the game was it looked like Omaha had their strategy, and it's a strategy I think can make a lot of sense when they're playing on their little tiny baseball field at home, but doesn't maybe translate to City Stadium because they were happy to pack it in the middle and give the kickers the wings, consistently throughout the game. And again, a small field, I think that makes all the sense in the world. Our bigger field, depending on who you're playing, that can make sense. But against Richmond this year, I don't see how that's a good idea because I mean, think about where do all of our attacks come from?
Oh, the
wing.
Every goal in this game came from the wing. Well,
I mean,
the second one came from quarterback, but still the wing.
Yeah, pretty much all of them all year come from out wide and bringing it in in the middle once you're down really close to the end line. So I felt like their strategy just played right into our hands, and Darren knew that they would want to have quick counter attacking hits, so he was happy to give them the ball, let them rotate it through the back. And Jalen and Dakota did a good job with Herzog up front. He really didn't do anything all game, for the most part. And
all that tampering not to do anything.
Yeah, so it really just seemed like Darren was say, "Hey, here's the ball, break us down. If you can do it, good for you." And they weren't able to do it.
Yeah, no, they weren't really able to do anything with it. Now, I mean, the second goal, I want to know who designed that set piece because that had to work. And that wasn't a lifetime set piece design.
That was a training ground set piece. That definitely was.
I mean, this is the thing about it. When you go back and look at the set piece, you can see Bolaños and Terzaghi run. Two of the most dangerous guys in the team. They run to the right-hand side because Dale lays it off on them. But you can tell how much of a threat Bolaños is based on this play alone. Bolaños literally, there's 3 Union Omaha players that are kind of tracking Terzaghi and Bolaños, and all 3 turn their attention to Bolaños and just forget about Terzaghi trailing behind them. And the only thing Bolaños do is he just lays it back, and there's Terzaghi just chipping it over Newton. Like, I mean, I hate to say it. I hate to say it. I love to say it. Bolaños is like the lightning rod right now, man.
Yeah. The thing with Bolaños is when he is not present, you notice it. You can tell. It's very apparent in the way the kickers play. He is very key and essential to the way the kickers play, and his movements on the field, on and off the ball, are dangerous, absolutely dangerous. And I think that is even starting off in the first half. Even after that spell that Union Omaha had, you're looking at it and you're seeing how much he's moving around, and you can see the fear starting to build in the Union Omaha player, especially since my dude was getting just completely cooked. Gordon was getting completely just cooked on that side, and it just created a sense of fear in that whole back line. So
It
by the
was
time you get to this free kick, everyone's like, "Where's Bolaños? We need to know where he's at." That's where he is. He's running. Everyone block him because the run that he makes is a very good run, and I think in their minds, their school of thought is just smother him, close him down, and smother him. But you forgetting about 2 years in a row, Golden Boot and MVP, just sitting right at the top of the six. And
shout out to them not marking good old number 32, 3 yards from goal. It's not like he doesn't score all his goals from right there.
Right.
Exactly.
If I'm
That's
new,
his spot.
I'm
He's
pissed
a
as
box
hell
to
because
box.
I'm like, bro, how do y'all because literally Bolaños is running more or less out of bounds.
Out of
So
bounds.
that's the way his body
Yeah.
is taking him. And Terzaghi just peels off, and I'm pretty sure it's designed to be that way. But if there's 3 Omaha players, no one decides like, yo, I'm gonna stay back and look at this guy. Like, I couldn't explain it. I sat there and watched that play like 3 times, thinking like, all right, maybe I'm not seeing something right. And every time I went back and rewatched, it was like, nope, that's what happened.
But I mean, let's give credit to Emmy there though, because he does that to teams repeatedly. Able to just make that slight little peel off and find that bit of space. That's all he needs to be able to flick it in, poke it in, head it in, whatever the case may be in that moment. So it's definitely a skill.
Yeah. I mean, look,
I
like we
bet
saying,
one thing,
he is probably the best striker in terms of like managing space. He's probably the best in USL, both leagues.
Yeah, I think one thing that we need to take into consideration is there are certain players at every level of the game that instill fear in backlines, and it's when you think about players like Mohamed Salah, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, it is sometimes really easy and really fun to play alongside players like this because you're going to get all the space in the world because they're going to draw everyone away. And I think Bolaños is developing that reputation in USL League One that the whole back line is like, get him. And so Terzaghi's like, thank you for the space.
Yeah, honestly. And then after that, Richmond still were creating and developing chances. Like I said, EVD should have had a goal.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Duke's foot, EVD should have had a goal, man. And you could tell, like, he put everything into that shot to try to score that.
But I mean, how many guys did he kind of cut through on the way over there? Because he just went diagonal, straight through the field. And again, it's not raw speed or anything. It was combination of power and smooth dribbling and all that. And I wish he had gotten the finish. A, for the goal, but B, I thought that was the rules. If you get to play your old team, you score a goal.
Right. You would think.
I mean, I feel like there's some guys need to look into in the rule book there because I don't like this one-way street with it.
No. I do wonder. I wonder if he scores there. What's that celebration like? I wonder.
He was there for like a minute. Oh, no, he was in Omaha for longer. That's right. We were playing NoCo this time. We were playing the team before.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I wonder what that celebration's like.
You know what? If guy scores, they're allowed to celebrate. Like I don't care about this whole like don't celebrate against your old team.
Oh yeah, no, 100% want him to celebrate.
Yeah.
100%. Look,
I don't see him as I don't see him as having the same kind of flavor in his celebrations as Johnny did after his goal there. But
okay, Johnny needed to work on that. It was that good. It was that good. Not a good celebration.
To my uncultured eyes, I was like, okay, maybe that's the hot new dance. I don't know. I don't know what that was.
I don't know. I don't keep up with the dances. The dance crazy.
Well, yeah. Talking about Bolaños, going back to him, man. Third goal. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's all 100% down to effort. 100% down to effort because Bolaños gets played in the space by O'Gordon, and when he cuts back, I can't remember the defender that kind of cut Bolaños. I thought originally it was going to be a PK.
If he had stayed on the ground, he probably would have. Yeah. Because I think the ref had his whistle about to go to his mouth, but he sees Bolaños bounces right back up and still has possession. He's like, I'm gonna just play advantage.
I'm not sure. I thought he got the ball, just clean off Bolaños.
No, he didn't get the ball because Bolaños cut the ball back, and the ball didn't really move. That player came sliding through and just took Bolaños' legs out from under him, and literally Bolaños was like, you know those inflatable dummies that you use to punch and you knock it down and it bounces right back up? That was Bolaños. Yeah. He went right back up on his feet and he was moving again.
Yeah, got knocked down, got right back up. Beat a sliding dude who was trying to save the ball and played it into the easy, cool feat of Emiliano Chizago, who now has 14 goals in the League One season, guys. So I want to ask you guys this question. We talked about it last week, because now I think he has, 43 total? 42?
42 in the
42
league.
Total. Do you still think he could get 50? And do you think he gets a third golden boot?
I mean, the second part's looking very likely at this point. He's 3 clear of everybody else.
I think I had the highest. I think I went 47, 49?
I think you were like 47-ish, and I think you and Chenier were a little higher than I was, and I was thinking he'd get to like 44 or so this year. So
I don't know, man. If you ask me right now, I'm going with 50.
You think he's scoring 8 goals in the next 7 games?
I think so, man. I think so.
Again, like last week, I want you to be right.
I think so.
I think the main thing is, I mean, when you look at the teams that we have to play against, especially looking at some of the home games, he's got opportunities to score. I think, to be honest with you, in my opinion, the only team that I feel that is equipped to deal with Terzaghi is Forward Madison. The other teams, he may not have always consistently scored against them, but he is a lethal weapon against South Georgia. Obviously, we saw against Union Omaha, against Central Valley, against Chattanooga, and against Greenville. So there is definitely a possibility that he could end up getting to that 50. He could. It'll be a tough road for him to get there, but especially when you look at the way the Kickers have been playing. I mean, ever since. I mean, look, when you see how they completely tore Union Omaha apart yesterday. If they play any game like that again, there is a possibility that he could get another 2 in another game, maybe a hat trick in another game. I know it's very unlikely, but I could see him getting a hat trick in one of the remaining fixtures.
I mean, this is the thing about it. When you look at Emmy scoring, he is the record goal scorer in USL League One, and he has not registered a hat trick yet. Like, that's insane in itself. Because you look at it like most guys, like a lot of the other goal scorers in the league have a hat trick underneath their name. You know, like Lacovette. He jumped up that week to the top of the Golden Boot race because of a hat trick. Terzaghi doesn't have a hat trick to his name yet. He's came close. He's had a lot of braces, but not a hat trick yet, man. And it just goes to show you, like, how consistent he is as a goal scorer, you know? Like, if there's any, I think when it's all said and done, and when Terzaghi steps away from the game and when Darren steps away from the game, man, we're going to look back at this period of Darren and Terzaghi and, like, yo, this is like some failed Michael Jordan type stuff. Like, this is how crazy it is.
Yeah, whoever tipped Darren off to Emmy, Darren needs to send him a little, supplemental paycheck.
Oh, right. Yeah. He needs to send him a big Christmas gift every year.
Every year.
But every year.
Right. Every year. And also, on top of this, we also have the cutest pitch invader ever. His daughter running to the field. I think after the second goal?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was real cool. That was cute to see. But yeah, I mean, rest of the game ends up, like we said, Richmond wins this game 3-0. Now looking ahead, we got a week and a half off to our next game against Tormenta, right? At home on September the 7th.
Yeah.
7 games left. As the team, as you guys, the Kickers players, in their head, they're talking 8, so they're already talking about the bye. But if we look at it, 7 games left to finish out the season. 3 of those are at home, 4 of those are on the road. How do we think this team finishes out these last 7 games here? Because you already got up the first hurdle of Union Omaha. How do you now progress to the next? Because I think now what they're playing, every team they're playing is in the playoff race, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Tormenta, but they're 7th.
Fuego.
I mean,
Tormenta.
They're tied on points with Charlotte, so they are still in the race. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so are Fuego. Fuego's right there as well at 27. They're 9th. So
yeah.
How does things play out when I ask you that?
So I think if you look at a couple weeks from now, Wednesday game at Omaha, followed by a Saturday at Chattanooga, is going to tell us a lot. Because those are 2 tough places to play for very different reasons. 2 close competitors. For the spot that the Kickers want. I think if you can kind of get something out of those games, I think it's looking pretty good. But I still think the magic number we really want to try to shoot for is 50 points. They're at 38 right now, so need to find 12 somewhere in there. And I think if you do that, feel very good about getting a bye. Yeah.
What about you, Shanae? What you got, man?
To be honest with you, I'm looking at this, and when I look at the table, I think for me, the easier game would be something like a Chattanooga and a Greenville, because they are the 2 that are out of this group the safest. They are the 2 that are it's pretty, unless they have some catastrophic, based on their form, unless they have something catastrophic go down, Chattanooga and Greenville are the 2 that they almost have a foot in to the playoff. So, I mean, I feel like those 2 games are the easiest. I think the toughest ones for me are Forward and South Georgia, because they're the ones that they could drop out. So they are going to be playing their tails off to make sure that they don't drop out of that race. I mean, South Georgia is already out of that race, but they still have a chance of getting in. Central Valley Fuego, it's a bit of a longer shot, but they still could fight for it. But for me, South Georgia and Forward.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I just can't sign off on at Chattanooga being the easy game on the schedule, given the history there.
Yeah, we still have that one there. Still haven't won there.
Yeah, that's still a curse for us. That's still one hurdle we need to break.
If there's any team outside of Union Omaha that's been trending upwards, it's Chattanooga, given everything that's been going on there, which is surprising in itself.
Yeah. So it's the most cliche thing ever, but taking it one game at a time. Take care of business. At home against Tormenta this time around, and you do that, things are going to start to really fall in place pretty well.
Yeah, and also you got to take into consideration that that by the time we reach to some of these fixtures, this table will have changed.
Oh yeah.
So like for example,
this is the benefit of our next 2 games being on a Wednesday. Like we literally have 2 Saturdays in a row to sit back and be like, how is the table looking?
Yeah.
How is the table looking at aspect? We'll talk about games that listeners can keep an eye on, given what's going to happen.
Also, super salty about Wednesday games, by the way. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not feeling that. I don't know. Two in a
Yeah.
row, too. I maybe one here and there, but 2 in a row.
League One schedule maker, boys. League One schedule makers.
Yeah.
Let's look at it this way. The next 3 games, very key and important. At home against Tormenta, at home against Union Omaha,
Nope.
at home against Chattanooga. I mean, on the road against Union Omaha, on the road against Chattanooga. My bad.
Yeah, if they were all home games, I feel really good. But
You would. You're right.
Oh yeah, if
Right.
they were all home games, I'm like, we cruising.
You're cruising.
But out of the remaining 7 games, only 3 of them are at home.
Yeah. They're all
that
tough. All
concerns
3
me
of
a
those
bit.
games are tough for their own individual reasons. Tormenta is probably the best road team right now. They have the most road wins at 6. Union Omaha, that like you would allude to, that pitch is
not
very
Omaha.
tight.
There you go.
Oh God. Yeah, you know
What
I mean.
happened?
I'm over here confusing stuff.
He was trying to move the Omaha game back to City Stadium, which again, support and
I
practice.
would love to.
Oh yeah, let's do this all over again. Let's do it all over again.
And Chattanooga, like we were saying, we haven't won there yet. Me personally, if we can walk out of those 3 games with 6 points, you gotta think that's a positive, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, in big picture, yes. Although I would say I almost would be happier with 5 in a weird way, because I'd be worried that if we got 6, that the loss was to Omaha, and we'd be giving that game and hit right back to them in a draw.
Understandable.
Running out.
To be honest with you, with their tiny little baseball field, I'm normally not a fan of playing for a draw, but I feel like that would be the game to do that, to try and hunker down and keep it at 0-0, because the way how expansively the Kickers played yesterday, they would not get away with that type of play on that small field. And that would be playing right into Union Omaha's hands, and they would gobble up every chance that we tried to create. And I just feel that that's one of those games where we're like, let's go there and try and get a boring draw, and then let's run out of there, we'll steal a point and get out of there.
I mean, Darren's done it before. The first ever matchup, he did it and got out of there with a Vaughn header. He's done it before.
I was there. It was a good time.
Oh yeah,
he's done it before. So it's a precedent there. You gotta imagine though, like getting positive points out of those 3 games, man. It sets you up very very well for the next 4 games, which leads a little bit more favorably to the Kickers. 2 games at home, 2 on the road. More favorable at that point.
Yeah, and then I mean, so much of it's going to matter. Like Shanir was making reference to, so much is going to matter based off of games that happen in the meantime, because there's some big ones that'll have direct implications. As soon as this Wednesday.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's talk about those. I mean, these are games that listeners, if you have ESPN Plus, check it out. You probably already are. But Charlotte, South Georgia, Tormenta, if you want to see how Tormenta plays, that's an important game to kind of keep an eye on. But also the 8:00 game, Union Omaha versus Fort Madison. Me personally, I
don't
think
even know who to root for.
I think a draw is the best result.
Yeah.
I think a draw is the best result. Like, take points off each
let
other.
Them beat the crap out of each other, and we get a draw out of that, and maybe a few yellow card suspensions in the process.
Yeah, because one thing you want to keep in mind is that yes, we are I think it's 4 points right now ahead of Omaha. Yeah, 4 points ahead of Omaha. They still have 2 games in hand. So if they went out on those 2 games, they're back ahead of us in the table. So that just means they need to not win one of those 2 games in hand, and we're good because we'll have goal difference. But even before goal difference, I talked about this last time, they're screwed on the tiebreakers with everybody except for Madison, because those 2 teams draw seemingly every single game.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not in their favor at all. So, I mean, we got them beat in the important ones. The Central Valley Fuego Tucson game.
Whatever.
If you can root for Tucson. Tucson's probably going to win. Tucson seems to only win on the road, so probably happen there. If you look at Saturday the 3rd, Greenville Fort Madison is a kind of match we kind of keep your eye on.
That's probably another just suck it up and root for the draw game.
Yeah, root for the draw. I think another one that we're probably root for a draw for is New York versus Chattanooga. I'm also going to hope for a couple of red cards, either which way.
Yes.
I want complete chaos that game. So, and the two other games you don't really have to root for at all. But I think there were 3 matchups that we really said you really need to keep an eye on. 2 of those include Union Omaha
and Forward.
And
Forward, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out, guys. It's going to, I mean, more or less, we're living in a scenario where either Richmond can still be either at worst the 3 seed without playing or the 1 seed without playing. 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah,
there's a scenario where we could be either one of those without even touching the ball for the next week and a half.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be honest with you, with Union, if they get 2 draws, that's what would make me happy. A draw with Forward, a draw with Chattanooga, and yeah, that would have them coming out of there with 2 points. But again, that's only 1 point for Forward, 1 point for Chattanooga, and to play for a draw, even though they're at home for those 2 games against clubs like Forward and Chattanooga, is going to take a lot out of them.
Yeah.
By the time they play Tucson, they'll have a full week and a day before that game after this kind of marathon. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a little worried because it's set off at a negative against us with not only getting hammered 3-0, so the morale is low. On top of that, losing a key center back in Alex Touche, it looks like they're going to be floundering in these next 2 games with not a lot of time in between each.
Also, they had just recently lost another defender, for the year too. Not too long ago, a week or 2. So I think it's easy for a team to observe one of those kind of injuries.
Yeah.
I don't know how strong their depth is to be able to observe 2.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it seems like all the moves that they've made have been on the offensive side of the ball. And probably thinking all right, the defense is stable and fine because we're not giving up a lot of goals and we got new. Let's put somebody into the attack. And unfortunately, it hasn't really paid off for them. So it's going to be interesting to see. Guys, we won't be talking again for a while. Next week, we're off, so we probably won't have a podcast. We have an article coming out. Fingers crossed we can get this Zaka article uploaded and ready for y'all. But the next time we talk, guys, we'll know how we look before we play Tormenta at home.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So it'll be a nice, relaxing Labor Day weekend, for everybody, and we'll enjoy it, and we'll see what September brings. But I think overall, you got to say, I would say overall, you got to call August a general success. 10 points from 5 games, take that anytime.
Yeah, I think it was a big month. Given how July was kind of shaping up at first, I got to say August was a big month for Darren and the squad. So, yeah, possibly had to end the month, guys. Matt, I know we got to give our 3 players, so let's quickly go over that.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so
ready? You want me to start?
I'll start. I got it already ready. It's very easy for me. 3 points, Jonathan Bolaños. 2 points, Emiliano Terzaghi. By 1 point, I'll give it to Akira Fitzgerald, which is weird to say given he had a clean sheet.
I don't think he gets credit for the clean sheet because subbed in Palmquist at the end. I think he gets screwed out of the stat.
Does he?
Oh.
But I gotta say, I like how Darren's been doing this because what's the bigger FU to the opposing team of, hey, I want to use one of my subs at the end of the game on a goalkeeper because this game
is the second time he'd have done it. Second time he'd have done it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, that's the ultimate spiking the football move.
Right. Ultimate victory formation. It would have been cool. Real quick, I know we're going down 3 points, but it would have been cool to see Kazi come on. Given it was the anniversary of the U.S. Open Cup, but unfortunately he was injured. But that would have been cool. It would have been cool.
Yeah, just to give for those who don't know, so one of our backup goalkeepers, Kazi, is actually the son of the goalkeeper who was on the kickers team that when we won the U.S. Open Cup in 94?
95.
95, sorry. Yeah, in 95. So that would have been cool, but he's out injured, so unfortunately.
Yeah. Shadari, you?
I want to go exactly the same, but it's strange because you and me were talking and at one point I was using the in the moment recency bias eye test with Stu Ritchie, but when he wasn't penned in for that portion of the second half, that first portion of the second half,
I told you.
apart from that moment, he was a nuisance. And the thing that made it crazy is that basically, you know, Dion Akoff and Gordon were having to deal with Bolaños and Richie on that same side, and Richie was making a nuisance of himself. He was creating some stuff. So I'm gonna give him the 1 point. I'm gonna have to give Stu Ritchie the 1 point.
All right, I like it.
All right.
And I had the same as Elliot.
Yeah.
Bolaños speaks for himself. Trzeci speaks for himself, and Kira didn't necessarily have as much to do throughout the game, but that was a real big tone setter for that save early on, like the 11th minute or so, and then he had that.
He had another one later on that was.
He had another one later on that I don't know if he cited it throughout or if it just happened to hit him. Who cares? Didn't go in the goal, so I'm good. With it. But yeah, I think that was a really pivotal moment, in the game, and we talked a lot about how Kira racks up a lot of kind of empty stats almost for some of these saves because the way Darren sets up the team is designed to give the opposition a lot of low quality shots and kind of bait them into taking low quality shots. So Akira gets to rack up some save totals sometimes. That was one where he earned his role. He earned his money on that.
Yeah.
And he earns a point.
Shanae, real quick before we wrap up, to see your point, we interviewed Jonathan Bolaños. By the way, we do our press game interview, so if you're interested in seeing what the players and team say after the game, go to our Instagram page and check those out. But Jonathan credited Stu with opening up a lot of space for him on that wing of just how pacey he is of getting up and down, and he really loves that relationship. But yeah, that was really dope. But with that being said, guys, I think we've done a wonderful job of covering up this game as we do every game. And if you're watching us live on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We really like it if you did that. But with that being said, guys, anything else before we close out the show?
A great crowd out there, 4,800 and so.
Right.
So, City Stadium's always a good time, but with even more people in the crowd, it becomes better and better time. Yeah. I think, and I'm hopeful. Maybe not for the Wednesday game coming up, but for one of those last two weekend home games, be able to top the 5K marker.
I will say this. I think it would happen if that Richmond and Greenville game is for the top of the table. I can see it happening there. I can see it happening there.
But but overall, it's been really positive, attendance momentum, throughout the year, and that's only a good thing to see for the club moving forward.
Yeah, we did have a question to make that from Kate. She wanted us to. I know we're supposed to close that show. I forgot. She had a question for us, like what things have Richmond been doing to increase the attendance at the stadium, and I think it just simply comes down to the product on the field is better, the merchandise has been better. And the community engagement has been hella better. I think those are the three key factors.
Yeah, I think you're missing one other key thing. COVID is in the minds of most people over.
Yeah.
For a couple of years, people were really hesitant to go out, to events, and now, right or wrong, we can have that, the political side of the discussion elsewhere. But people are a lot more, outwardly, sociable again, and I think that leads to it. And, people come out, they have a good time, mixing, whether it's tailgating, whether it's for the happy hour in the stadium, whatever the case may be, and it builds upon it because you still see a lot of the families, but I feel like I see a lot more of the young adult crowd out at games now than in the past.
Yeah, most definitely. Well,
there's definitely been analogy, but I do think that the biggest factor has been the product on the field because even even though we've been kind of having our issues with the away games, with the away performance, which has gotten better. The kickers are exciting to watch. I mean, we're
Goals are
playing
fun.
some
goals are fun.
It's not just goals because it's not just goals because look at how many chances were created in the last 10 minutes of the game. Gordon almost got a couple. Bolaños almost got another one. Terzaghi almost got a third. I mean, they were playing electric, exciting soccer, and I think this is the point that Darren was trying to reach. And I always go back to the press conference he had when he first came on as head coach. He has been looking to create a team that is going to excite, is going to entertain, and is going to score goals. And rather than scoring one and maybe a second one and closing up shop, when Union Omaha started really trying to push forward towards the end of the game, Darren said, "Okay, cool, we'll catch you on the counterattack then." And that's literally what it was. And we could have scored probably it probably could have been a 9-0 because I mean their back line was wide open and we were going for it. It's just that is so much more exciting to watch. It's bringing more people into the stadium because word of mouth, and it's wonderful. If it continues that way, they're gonna have to do something about the other side of the stadium.
Well, let's hope so. It's all positive over here. Well, guys, we won't see y'all next week, but as always, you can keep up with the show at rivercity93.com. Check out the website. It's wonderful. We got all the articles up. We're going to have articles up for Zaka. I guess now I'm giving myself the assignment of working on Bolaño's MVP push. Matt's working on the top 30 list.
I got a little spoiler. I got what you need.
Yeah, pretty much. And always, guys, we want to say thank you. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. Share it with a friend. With that being said, guys, we'll holler at you next week. Peace.